performance was a commendable performance. In terms of gross revenue, we increased the gross revenue by 7% in 2019 versus 2018 to about 164 billion Uganda shillings. And this was driven primarily by sale of product, an improved product mix. So that means products of higher value resulted to the growth in gross revenue. This had a knock-on effect on the amount of taxes we paid to the government. This increased by 6% from 90 billion Uganda shillings to 96 billion Uganda shillings. For the shareholders, profit increased by 14%, which resulted to an increase of their dividend per share from 280 shillings in 2018 to 230 shillings in 2019. Consumers are really stretched from a tobacco point of view. And for us as a company, we needed to make sure that we are getting to every corner of the country to make sure our products are available. One of the biggest challenges we face is illicit trade. And in our estimation, 1 out of every 5 cigarettes sold in Uganda are illicit products. And illicit then means that they are not paying duty to the government, thus the Ugandan government is not getting the benefit of its citizenry spending money in that product. That is number one, illicit, and the impact has had on performance. Number two is regulatory impact. As you know, the industry is very regulated under the Tobacco Control Act and also regulations, tobacco control regulations. The tobacco control regulations came into effect last year. The impact of this is that we as an industry will have to invest in changing our packaging. Obviously that comes at a cost, but we understand from a health point of view, the government wants to change the health warnings from text health warning to graphic health warning, which we as an industry are not opposed to. The thing that we are requesting for is the Ministry of Health and the industry should have had better discussions to ensure that the implementation does not impact the industry. Because what you'd have stocks, you'd have wrapping material, which you need to deplete. So the lack of a two-way conversation to agree on how to implement it in the best way possible for the Ministry of Health, for them to achieve their agenda, and for we as an industry to achieve business objectives was not very smooth. Last but not least is digital tax stamps, which addresses the first issue I raised, which was illicit trade. So this was implemented. We've implemented on all our products. It comes at a cost. The thing that we'll be seeking from the government is to now ensure that the people who are not compliant then need to be brought to book, because it costs us money. We need to ensure that the other people are also implementing this, because we believe this is one of the solutions for tackling illicit trade. Regionally, the biggest challenge for the tobacco industry is illicit trade. When we, through our third parties, try to find out the type of products or which products are being sold into Uganda as illicit, and vice versa in Kenya, where our sister company operates, how this issue will be resolved will be key for the industry, and the legitimate players will benefit. So the number one challenge for the regional business is illicit trade. The second one is regulation. That regulation needs to be balanced. We have to try and make sure we are adhering to the health agenda of the government, but we must also remember that our businesses are legal businesses and must also be allowed to operate. BAT shares, there is a concern, and one of the questions raised during the AGM is the stagnation of the price of the BAT share. And the caller who raised the issue raised the fact that at 30,000 shillings, first, the share has not been traded for a long time, and the price seems to be high. Our answer to that is that the stock exchange is an open market and is driven by supply and demand. So we will have to let the forces of supply and demand manage the price. We as a company cannot intervene with the price of the shares on the stock exchange.